So today we're doing 5 American cars that beat their foreign competition. No manufacturer claims of glory, not the Nürburgring times that everybody's already looked up and are pretty useless in the real world. We're talking comparison tests, drag strips, road courses, documented wins from the real world. I can feel the Porsche guys already getting fired up, probably about the deviated stitching, or maybe the different colored seatbelts. I don't know. Welcome to Off Camber. So matchup number 1. The Dodge Viper GTS versus the Ferrari F355. They are the same era cars and pretty much direct competitors at the time. So let's talk about the Italian first. The Ferrari F355 was the benchmark mid-engine sports car of the 1990s. It had 3.5 liter V8, 375 horsepower, and a design that stopped people in their tracks and made them look at it. It is a beautiful car, even by today's standards. There's no arguing that. And they look good lowered, so that already buys them points with me. MSRP had these things at $120,000 to around $150,000, depending on trim level and options. But these were the cars that defined what supercar performance was supposed to be. Maybe the price was justified, but that's up to you, because the performance was beaten by an American with a bad attitude. So now you're asking, Jason, if the F355 was so good, how does the GTS beat it out? Well, how's this for logic? In 2000, at the 24 Hours of Daytona, the Viper GTS won everything with an outright overall win against everything. Against Ferraris, against Porsches, against everything that was supposed to be faster than some rudimentary, brutish American pushrod engine. So the Europeans looked at the Viper like it was an ox cart and turned their noses up at it. So Dodge took the GTS-R to Le Mans in 1998. It won the GT2 class there, road and track, ran the street GTS against the Ferrari F355 in 96. The Viper won. Motortran ran that same test. Viper won again. The SCCA World Challenge saw Vipers beating Ferraris on road courses throughout the late 90s. These weren't close calls. This was Dodge absolutely decimating the Ferrari everywhere. The Vipers beat the 355s like they owed them money. So how does the math work on this? Well, it was $66,000 in 1996 for the Viper and $130,000 to start for the 355. Ferrari wanted $8,000 for a timing belt service and more money if you needed other parts. The Viper wanted oil, tires, and someone willing to get underneath it. The trade-off, though, like all other 90s American cars, the interior was bad. Look, sorry, that's understating it. Let's be honest here. The interior sucked. Cheap plastics, minimal sound deadening, the list keeps going and going and going. Ferrari felt like a designed object. The Viper felt like someone built a race car, threw a reclinable seat in it for comfort. Was the Viper a better car than the 55? Well, that depends on your metric. My metric is winning. So if you want to come fight me in the comments about it, I'm right here. What the Viper was, though, was a car that was faster, cheaper, and available to regular car guys. And this kind of begins the story of SRT, but you're going to have to wait for that one. Matchup number 2, the C6 Corvette versus the 997 Porsche 911. The 997 was the general consensus answer to what's the best sports car you can buy. The Carrera S came with 355 horsepower, a flat 6, it was a rear engine configuration, and had 40 years of never-ending development behind it. It ran about $93,000 new. Every comparison test, every track day, every sports car conversation in this era started and ended with the 997. That reputation is pretty well placed. It is an excellent car, but the Vette in certain configurations will absolutely smoke it. So if the Porsche is so good, how do I walk around with my chest stuck out like a prancing peacock in the face of PASM like this? Corvette racing is how. American Le Mans Series. The C6R won the GT1 class championship against Porsche factory efforts repeatedly throughout the late 2000s. Car and Driver Lightning Lap in 2007, the C6 Z06 beats the 997 GT3 and the Turbo. The 997 cars were constantly beat on by the Z06. Motor Trend, Road and Track, Car and Driver, you name the comparison test, the Z06 won the majority of head-to-heads against the 997 throughout this whole generation. The C6Z is arguably the best performance car value of this era of cars. It is a no-shit outstanding car to be in. The C6Z in 2006, $65,000. The 997 Carrera that same year, $80,000. With options, you were in the mid-90s range, which is where that 93 number came from. Almost $30,000 cheaper and faster on track. In my opinion, the C6Z is hands down a better car for damn near everything. except for dash petting. Oh, I can feel their hands now, aggressively rubbing their deviated stitching, spewing acronyms like PASM, PDCC, PTV, and so on, you know? The Porsche clan is putting on their Perry topsiders and adjusting the collars on their polo shirts right now. They are perturbed about this insolence. Don't believe me? Check the comments. You'll see. So what was the trade-off for the Vet? Well, the interior gap was real if you grabbed the base model. But it depends on how you spec the car. Because you place a base C6 next to a 997 cockpit, yeah, the Corvette felt like a rental car that had been to the gym and had been using steroids. It was like sitting inside of a Tupperware tub. Not going to argue that. It was functional, it was faster, and it was visibly cheaper. The 3LT package, though, changed this conversation entirely. The 3LT had the hand-stitched leather, heated and cooled seats, Bose audio, carbon fiber trim. A 3LT Z06 next to a 997 Carrera S is a much closer argument than the base cars suggest. However, it didn't fully close the gap. You couldn't pick a different color thread for your seats or match your calipers to your seat belts, so the 997 still won on refinement. But if somebody tells you the C6 interior was embarrassing, ask them which one they sat in. And then as they're telling you, do a donut around their car as you bounce it off the chip with them talking about how many over revs it has. But the Corvette story doesn't end with the C6. What GM learned there and what they did with it after, well, that's a longer story that deserves an episode all of its own. Matchup number 3, the 5th generation Camaro Z28 versus the Porsche Cayman GTS. In 2014, the Cayman GTS was the best driver's car Porsche made below the GT3. 335 horsepower, mid-engine balance, and surgical precision. And it was $75,000 new. The one that outperformed it, the 911 GT3, that same year, started at 130 and ran the Nürburgring at a pace that embarrassed everything else in its class. So the GTS was the performance bargain entry in the Porsche world. Both of these cars represented decades of German engineering discipline, focused and refined to a level not many cars can match. That same year, Motor Trend's best driver car was given to the Z28. That test included the Porsche Turbo S. Car and Driver ran similar comparison tests that year, and the Z28 matched or beat the Cayman GTS at the track repeatedly across multiple publications. This wasn't one favorable test, it was the consensus in the mainstream automotive media, and none of them ever had a problem gushing over a Porsche. The price comparison between the group was pretty much the same for both, $75,000 for the Z28 and for the Cayman GTS. The same price for the two cars, but the more refined one was supposed to dominate. But the pedigree didn't matter here. The Z28 pushed its way into the conversation, and then it took control of the narrative. The trade-off that people will bring up about why the Porsche is the better choice is that the Z28 didn't come with an AC. But that isn't entirely true. It was an option, and most buyers in 2014 checked that box. It came standard in 2015. The cars that left the lot without it were the ones that were going directly to a track program. Hans is going to have to latch onto something else to win this argument. What is actually true is the Z28's ride quality on public roads will find every crack you have ever driven on. Ever. Saying the ride is harsh is akin to saying that a Texas summer is warm. And if you did get a car without the AC package, you only got one speaker to listen to. And to be fair, the Cayman GTS communicates way more at the limit. It's got better feedback through the steering wheel, more neutral balance, and it's more willing to tell you what you're doing. The Z28, though, wins hands down on the performance tests. The Cayman is the more complete driver's car, and both of these things can be true at the same time. If the Cayman is a modern-day surgical tool, the Z28 is a saw, a leather strap, and a bottle of whiskey. Both work. One is just more polite about how it gets the job done. But showing the world you can compete with some of the best cars out there on track when they all assumed America made covered wagons with big lethargic V8s is making a statement that people can't ignore. GM knew exactly what they were building in 2014, and what they did with that knowledge in the decade after, well, that's a longer story, and that one's coming too. What? You again? Hang on a second. Are you still watching and you haven't hit subscribe? Look, I'm doing coilovers, I'm doing bushings, I'm doing control arms. I'm doing all this for you, and you haven't hit subscribe for me? Come on, man. Go down there. I think it's over in this corner right here. Hit subscribe. It's free. What's it gonna hurt? All right, sorry to interrupt. Back to the video. Matchup number 4, the Mustang Shelby GT500 and the 991 Porsche GT3. Yeah, we're going here. You thought the GT3 was safe, but it ain't. This is the argument nobody at a Porsche club wants to have. So let's go. So the 991.2 GT3 was and is without a doubt still one of the greatest driver cars at any price. 500 naturally aspirated horsepower, screaming at 9,000 RPM. Yeah, 9,000. This thing wails the song of our people and sounds absolutely intoxicating. It had Porsche's full motorsport program behind every single component on the car, and it did the lightning lap at VIR in 2 minutes and 47 seconds. New, it sold at 160,000 to about 190 with all the dealer ADMs if you want to include those. The 991.2 GT3 was the answer to best track car with a license plate, and it earned every bit of that reputation. The car is a monster that you can't fathom until you're inside of it. It is an absolute weapon. In 2018, the 991.2 GT3 ran at 247, matching the time that the GT3 RS ran in 2016. But in the 2021 Car and Driver Lightning Lap, the 2020 GT500 did a 244.6 at VIR, 2.4 seconds faster than a 991.2 GT3. Ford built a 760 horsepower supercharged 5.2 liter flat plane crank V8, and they called it the Predator. I'm guessing they had a reason for that name. And then they threw that engine in the Mustang, and they went to the Lightning Lap. The engine didn't ask for permission. Wide open, it sounds like it needs a cage and a fire suppression system. Somehow, this thing passed emissions, came with a warranty, and was available to anyone that walked into the dealership with enough money. $73,995 for the base GT500, $160,000 for the GT3. You kept $86,000. That's another GT500 in a different color for Wednesday through Friday. But the GT500 is testing at Lightning Lap, weighs in at 4,067 pounds. That GT500 is a heavy car, and at the limit it drives like one. The GT3, again, like every other Porsche, is lighter, more surgical, and communicates better. It tells you what it wants. It's more complete in the same way that the Cayman was. That's what comes with decades of development time. The GT500 wins the lap timer and loses with the nuance argument. Again, America with our sledgehammer approach. It's no shame there, we get it done. Want to fight about the weight in the comments? Again, right here. In 1984, Ford put a turbocharged 4-cylinder in a Mustang, and nobody took it seriously. The guys who built it, however, did. That program is the first domino in a line that ends at the GTD. We're going to knock them all down. Matchup number 5, the Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing and the BMW M5 CS. The BMW M5 CS is the benchmark 4-door performance sedan. 627 horsepower, twin turbocharged V8, all-wheel drive, and 50 years of M Division credibility behind it. But it's also $143,000 brand new. Every performance sedan comparison, though, starts with the M5, and it has absolutely earned that placeholder. The engineering, the history, the track records, every dollar of that sticker price is justified. It is just a rowdy-ass sedan. However, at Car and Driver Lightning Lap in 2022, the CT5V did a 249.4. The M5 CS did a 250.3. So Cadillac came back in 2025 with their answer to the CS package, which was called the Precision package from Cadillac, and it did a 247.9. Motor Trend and Road and Track comparison tests also had the Blackwing beating the M5 CS on track. In every major head-to-head, the Caddy is winning. $88,000 versus $143,000. The Cadillac beat the M5 on its own terms, in tests that the M5 was supposed to dominate, but it didn't. And for $53,000 less, the Cadillac actually punished it, and honestly, looks better doing it. The Cadillac also kept the manual around. The BMW doesn't offer one, German precision and all that. And the Cadillac also comes with GM parts pricing, the Cadillac dealer network, and a warranty without fine print complications. The BMW, well, it BMWs. The Blackwing is the faster car, and it's also the cheaper car to live with, both at the same time. Now, again, interior quality is going to come up, so let's talk about it. BMW still edges the Blackwing out on materials and refinement. The M5 cabin feels like decades of luxury car building stacked right on top of each other. The Blackwing, it's close. It's really, really, really close, but it's not quite there yet. If you want to pet the dashboard and talk about the quality of the leather and the stitching, you want the BMW. You want an angry V8 that tries to tear the faces off its competition but civilized enough to take to a business lunch? The Cadillac is hands down the car you want to be. Tell me about the M5 in the comments. Come make the argument. I want to hear about why you're wrong. The Blackwing doesn't come from nowhere. Cadillac had to decide to build this car. That story is how a luxury brand looked all the way back to its beginnings, got inspired, and became a genuine performance brand that nobody saw coming. It's a good story, and we're going to tell that one too. Every car on this list has one thing in common. None of them were accidents. Somebody decided to build these things. And in every case, you can trace a line back to the one moment, one program, where somebody at that company decided to stop making excuses and decided to start making real performance cars. Ford has that story, GM has that story, Dodge has that story, and Cadillac, well, Cadillac's story is the one that nobody saw coming. We're going to tell all four of them in upcoming episodes, so make sure you subscribe so they pop up on your feed. Also, make sure to check out the merch store. We got hats, t-shirts, and stickers to throw in your toolbox. Anyways, thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed your time here, and I'll see you next time on Off Camera.